Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Saturday, August 10th, 2024. And today we have the Image Assassin Epic Zero number 16 by Alex Cott and illustrated by Stathis Semberlidis. Today is Stathis Semberlidis. And I have to wonder if he was asked to draw this way or if they sought him out because this is his normal art style. I'm suspecting the latter. He seems very get into it. This is the mushroom trip that continues. It's not very Alice in Wonderland. It's not scary. It's not... You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how a band gets stuck in your head for 6 months and then you forget about them, and another one gets stuck in your head for 6 months and you forget about them. For a while I was really hooked on this band, Bleached, and now I'm like back on the Misfits again. But this story is, a narrative version of a drug trip. And the writer mentions Allen Ginsberg and Burroughs, William S. Burroughs. And there's lots of bugs. There's the spider and the bugs. And this is all about like the evil spirit of an assassin. And this is how do I phrase this? I don't know if this is something the writer wanted to do or if something he was asked to do. This doesn't feel like it was burning in someone's soul and just had to get this out. This is like the end of a Clive Barker novel, where it's a tour through filth, like the end of a drug addiction. This feels like the second half of Requiem for a Dream with Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly. And everyone's whacked out on mushrooms and no one's getting what they want. To say it doesn't make sense doesn't do it justice. It's supposed to be a psycho drug trip. It's supposed to be avant-garde. It's supposed to be shocking and yet all too human, all too real. Aren't we all just spores? And so that's issue 16. There's a thing about quoting other authors. They don't like you doing it. Especially when you're a young writer, it's inevitable because, like I was saying about bands get stuck in your head, well, books get stuck in your head too, and on a much longer time frame. And as an author, you find yourself referencing those as you write the story. Your brain draws parallels. And when I was younger, I did it a lot more. So I don't know how old Alex Cott is, but he may have a lot more professional experience than I do, in which case this may not apply to him at all, and it may apply a lot more to me than to him. But quoting in books, especially quoting literature, so like the Illuminatus trilogy, I mentioned that earlier, that is the biggest quote fest since Ezra Pound started quoting E.E. Cummings and Dylan Thomas and all the other poets. To read Ezra Pound, you almost need a master sitting next to you explaining what all the different rhymes mean and how he's referencing the other stuff that came before. And it really mattered what it meant in context, in his context. And so these references matter in the context the writer's writing them. And I don't know anything about him, so it's digging out the context would take a lot of work. And it's not necessarily the most fruitful sort of work. If you read House of Leaves, you might know what I mean. It was a good concept, but it was never completed. This is an example of how much comic book readers love characters, but Netflix and movie studios, Hollywood loves stories. Hollywood, this is why, okay, look, they let George Lucas keep the merchandising rights. They won't do that again with a tentpole sort of blockbuster film. But at that point, it was a sci-fi fantasy that no one saw anything no one saw it becoming anything. And they let him keep the merchandising rights, and he made all those toys. And so that was what my generation grew up with. Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, that whole collector's thing. It was really a golden era, a golden age. I think we're heading into the Terminator future, and that stuff's not coming back. Kids collecting toys like that is not coming back. If you look at this, the Brian Volkweiss, a producer who I worked with once upon a time, a long time ago, who other people worked with and invited me to work on a project that I was not as grateful as I should have been about. And anyhow, he made this series, The Toys That Made Us, and they talk about He-Man, and they interview the guys who produced He-Man, and how everything was catch as catch can, one step at a time. Like they pitched it and kind of got the deal, and then pitched the cartoon to advertise it and got that deal, and never really had a plan, and it really took off just by the seat of their pants because they had a lot of experience and they knew what they were doing. They knew which offices to go into and which meetings to have. So they were the right guys with the right idea at the right time. And their same company, I don't remember if it was Hasbro. I think He-Man is Hasbro. Mattel. I want to say He-Man's Mattel. But I could be wrong. They had the girls' side doing whatever they were doing, competing with Barbie, and they wanted to cash in on that and eventually broke the Masters of the Universe franchise. And the Masters of the Universe franchise broke itself in that they started flooding the market with not just third, but fourth and fifth wave figures, and everyone wanted the first and second wave figures, and those were impossible to get. And so that really kind of broke the game. At least the speculator market. When I was a kid, it was like Buzzsaw, I think, was the B. That was all you could get one Christmas, and all I wanted was He-Man or Skeletor. I must have been 9 or whatever. I don't know, I was a kid. But the point is, there's no characters to get behind. Edward Zero, when he does something out of the goodness of his heart, it's really to get something. The one good thing he does is rescue the evil boss, Sarah, who ends up blowing up the building later, and rescues her to quit for a while, and she ends up sending assassins after him after just a few months anyhow. So today's Wildwood Tarot card is actually pretty cool. Here's the box, here's the book, and today's card is the 4 of Stones, Protection. And there's a little doe sleeping on her Stonehenge. Although you would only need 3 at Stonehenge, but this one has 4. And you could find this out in the wild, you know what I mean? I've been watching a lot of Bjorn Butler on YouTube. He's a woodsman up in Alberta, I want to say, somewhere in Canada, British Columbia maybe. And you see all kinds of stuff in the mountain because it's all just loose rocks covered with moss and fallen trees. That's all just kind of held together. So today's 016 is brought to you by Legacy of a Mad Scientist, the story of this little girl, Ashley Fox, who goes on the run with her younger brother, Jeffrey, from corrupt government agents who want to steal her father's legacy to her. And then it's followed up by the sequel, The Legend of Ashley Fox, where Ashley and her brother Jeffrey are now orphans at Angel City Orphanage and Juvenile Delinquent Facility, District 13 in Los Angeles. And they have to fight off a group of corrupt serial killers running the orphanage. Those are free here as audiobooks on this channel. We also have a free comic book here in the description as a PDF, Ashley Fox, The Last Valkyrie, where Ashley Fox and Reverend Wolf, a character from the audiobooks, are rescuing kids who've been Pizzagated, and Ashley meets this Valkyrie and becomes a Valkyrie herself. Check it out. It's here in the description as a PDF. Or check out our websites, ashleyfox.ninja and alphachannel.games. We're working on a futuristic anti-gravity game. As soon as I get my car paid off, a couple more payments, and then I'll have the cash to start flooding that, making that flow again. But I know the stopping point that I'm at. Once I get past that, it's just going to be a money pit until it actually launches, and then it's going to make $500. Unless you guys all buy it, all 10 of you or 20 of you. So that's all I've got for today. Let's see. Nah, Nothing else I want to talk about. Spelling matters in your work. I will say that. And plots matter. Plot development matters. This plot's not developing the way I might have liked it to, but I'm sure there's other readers it's right for. I'm giving the author a hard time, mostly because they went to a different illustrator every issue, scenario, strategy. I don't know what you call it. It's terrible. It's a bad idea. It's like recasting a TV show. I know they bring in different directors for every episode, but this is different. This is different. So anyhow, hope you guys are well. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.